So welcome, we're back here for part 2 on our Football Manager 15 experiment on the Legends pack, where we're going to be following the careers of our current superstars who are normally in the game, who have always set back to the age of 14, 15. So in the first episode we basically just went over what we're going to be doing in the experiment. It was a bit short, a bit brief. These episodes following on are going to be a lot longer probably. We're going to a bit, we'll have a look at the players, see what's going on in the league, mainly the Premier League. We'll probably have a little pop into the other leagues and stuff. And we'll get started then straight away. We'll go into the world and we'll have a quick look at the overview, sort of what's been going on in the world of football manager in this alternative universe. Obviously, we can see on the major clubs there's been a little shuffle around here over the last 3 seasons. A couple of the English clubs dropping out of the major clubs, maybe not so doing so well in Europe as the Chelsea, Liverpool, Leeds are coming up in there. Looking at that, we've got a few Italians knocking around. Obviously, Georgie Best now the top player over Pele. Maradona's dropped quite far down by the look of things. And we can see a few of the transfers here. Obviously, Vidal, he's actually, he's obviously reset. He's 19 now. He's off to Man City. Um, David Mackey is one of the legends, moving on. Joe Campbell, he's reset. He's moving to France. So we'll have a look at the transfers overall, sort of in the mainly in the we'll look in the Premier League over the last few seasons since we've been on holiday, and we'll have a look at the competitions, see what's going on. Italy taking first in the league standings in reputability. England slipping out of that top three, so not doing so well in Europe and stuff. We'll pop over now and have a quick look at Ballon d'Or, see who's won that. Georgie Best, Ronaldinho, Baggio this season. Georgie Best looks like he's won it the last 2 seasons. That's probably why he's now the top player in the world. See, Pele's probably still over in Brazil. Wonder if he'll actually come over to the Europe and play in the Champions League. So Figo won it the first season, and obviously Georgie Best sort of gone on to dominate it the next couple of seasons. So I'm going to try and keep these brief. We don't want to get into major detail with every single player and everything. We'll skip over to the Premier League now, and we'll have a look what's been going on over there over the last few seasons. Now all the legends are involved. See which team's coming out on top over the last few seasons. Oh, we clicked. We want to go on the Premier League here. So we'll have a look at the history since. We'll start the first season. We started this experiment and went on holiday, and obviously United winning it, 99 points, 103 goals scored. Nice domination of the Premier League. Not quite domination. Liverpool 9 points behind, but that goal difference. But not surprising with the talent they've got in the squad, and it's kind of laid out sort of how I thought it would. The team obviously with quite a few legends who are in the top bracket. Quite surprised Newcastle have done so well because they have got Alan Shearer up front, so he's got plenty of goals to score. Villa might see them up in that top bracket. Man City, they're holding up there. They've kept their midfield. They've lost their attack. Navas, Silva, Guerrero, Zeko. But we'll have a look at them after we've had a look at the Premier League over the last few seasons, see who they've signed, see who's come up. And obviously, we'll probably be seeing Leeds, not Forest, popping into the Premier League quite probably in the next season. See how they've done. They're moving on to the second season, and we can see Liverpool won it this season with United behind. So obviously these two clubs are really going to probably dominate the top of football. And Leeds, first season in the Premier League, finishing third, as you can imagine with the legends that they've got at the club, and Don Revie in charge. They're climbing up, and the same with Forest. We've got Forest up here in the top half of the table. Obviously they've got a couple of legends they could build around. But they're slipping down a bit. Newcastle, I'm quite surprised. We'll quickly pop onto Newcastle because they have got Alan Shearer, Paul Gascoigne, Shay Givens reset, and I'm sure they did have another player. I'm not massive on the Newcastle. Obviously, I remember Alan Shearer in his heyday, and Paul Gascoigne, that goal he scored against Scotland. So that was the Premier League in 15-16. That would have been the second season. Obviously, Liverpool, United still at the top bracket. City still keeping to that sort of Europa League position. They're not quite challenging, not quite up there. And Coming into the last season, Man City United winning it. Leeds coming quite close behind, really. No, not far off it. Obviously they are because as I imagine, they're becoming a force in the Premier League straight away. Notts Forest probably dipping off a little bit. They're sort of staying in that mid-table sort of section there. They've got a couple of legends. They're quite quick. The same with Everton. Newcastle doing a bit better. But I just got Palace, Leicester. Leicester have got Lineker up front. Palace have got Ian Wright. Zaha's reset and he's back there. So we'll see what happens there. Charlton obviously getting up this season. It's going to be hard for these lower teams, though. I think with the less, without the legends really getting to this top bracket. You know, the top 12 really, top 13 have all got from 15 up. They've all got legends. Obviously, top of teams got lots more. We'll have a quick look at the transfers over the last couple of seasons. Started obviously in 14 in the first season. See if any of these guys that we're really looking at on the short list have managed to get into the Premier League or anything just yet. Obviously, we'll flip down the short list. Some of these guys might have moved to more the other European clubs or potted around in their own leagues. So we'll have a quick little blip down here, see if we spot anyone. Obviously, you guys might spot people. Well, I don't think there'd be too much activity from these youngsters because obviously they're all 14, 15 in the first season. So I don't imagine too much activity. Claudio Merchisio moving on loan to QPR. Obviously, he's reset, so he would have been quite young in that first season, really. He's quite active there on the loan market, picking up a couple of cheap deals. Obviously, some of the current players who might not be getting into the first team will be more available for the smaller clubs and stuff. Will make it a bit more interesting. Man's letting quite a few out on loan. I'd imagine some of these legends are going to move clubs because there's quite a lot in the sort of the Serbia, Bosnia and stuff. They've got whole international teams full of legends who are at smaller clubs in the respective leagues and stuff of the countries. So we've got Christian Rodriguez is the only major Man City signing in the first season, considering the attacking talent they've lost. But we'll have a quick look through the next couple of seasons. Obviously, I'm going to try and keep it brief. We don't want to go into every single player and everything. We'll just bore you. We'll be here for hours. Everton seem to have strengthened fairly well. These guys are current players. They're not exactly the youngsters what we were hoping for, but it is still the first season, so we're not probably going to see that much activity in the first season. Really, with some of these youngsters, Chelsea signing some, John Stones, Jed Steer as Villa supporter. I know he can get quite good on the game and develop to a decent player. And Pedro, who's normally sign him anyway. So there's no real surprises with the signings here in the first season. We're losing Benteke, but then again they have got Wyeth and York to play up front. So we're not exactly. Let me just pop this off here. Seen a lot of activity in the way of the players on the shortlist really getting in. But we'll move into the next season and we'll probably see a little bit more activity. And I'm going to keep it. Obviously, we're going to try and get through these fairly quick so we can get onto the shortlist and have a little look in the Scottish division as well. See, obviously, Rangers are probably going to be up in the first division tier now and challenging Celtic, I'd imagine, straight away. And we'll have a quick little look at Man City. We'll see some of the transfers, obviously, here. A lot of people going on free transfers, you imagine, at the start of the second season. So we're at the start of the second season's transfers. And we can see Jose Enrico, who probably would have been about 16, has moved to Arsenal. And he's looking quite good already at 19. They're not bad. I don't think Rodens, no, he hasn't reset. Brad Friedel, I forgot about Brad Friedel. I'll add him to the shortlist. So we keep an eye on him. He's at Arsenal now. Young keeper, looks really good. Obviously, had a very good, consistent career over his years in the Premier League and football. You know, good keeper, could get really good in the game. Obviously, he's back at 20. We'll have a quick dip down. So obviously there's some movement now. We've got a couple of the kids going places. We'll see what's going on and where some of these guys are going, and hopefully we'll spot a couple more. You guys might see one or two I missed or something on the scrolls down these lists. So we'll look at the main transfers in the Premier League. It's the main league I'm looking at, obviously being the one I watch the most and everything. Obviously later seasons we're going to look at international football and stuff. As we can see here, Fellaini has actually moved from Standard. He's 18 now, and he's actually gone to Everton, where he went in real life. Probably a little bit older when he went to Everton, but so you can get on there, get his career going. It's good to see him going to a club that he actually went to in real life in this alternate world. Now, obviously, I think some of the guys, their information is the same, so they've still got the favoured clubs and stuff that they would have in the current game. Obviously, it's just their ages, and obviously their abilities have been reset a bit to match their age, but they're going to develop into the players that we all know. Darren Fletcher moving from Man United to Hull on loan. So we're getting activity already in the second season. A few guys moving. Obviously, Chelsea not needing so many players, so Zuma being loaned out to Leicester. They might struggle with some of the players they've got. Man City here, they've signed a couple of the legends by the things in Jimmy Baxter from uh, Rangers and Helmut Roon. You can pick up on a quite a cheap release clause at the start of the game. I did for Villa when I did it one, and he went on to do really, really well for me. So look at United, have been quite busy here. Signed Thomas Rosicky, so they've got him over Arsenal where he went in real life. See well what he does there. Can he stay with injury? Play, just get on with the game. Kasane, so United been quite busy here on signing to these guys, and Loriente. They've signed a few of these reset players there. Obviously, they've got a really good youth system, so we can see them progressing quite nicely. So it's going to be hard to break into that United first team, really. As we move down the list, Robbie Keane and Glenn Johnson both gone on loan to Norwich, obviously both quite young. Would have been about 17 in the game at that point, but both obviously looking really good, as you'd imagine. These guys are going to develop quite nicely. Notts Forest, obviously, they're strengthened with a few decent players. Backer, if you play the game, he's going to be a good striker for you. Royce Boateng, a big player, really. He dropped off a bit. Clement Morelos for 4.2 million. Now, obviously, they've got a few good legends now, so they'll obviously be able to let him go for a bit cheaper. I think some of the finances might be a bit different to the players and stuff. We'll skipping down the list. We seen any big action really? Got a few guys. Obviously, later on, it's going to be when they're really going to start moving into the Premier League. We've obviously got Zoltan Ibrahimovic here, who's gone to Stoke. Really good sign for Stoke at his age. Will he stay there? Berbatov, he's gone to Swansea at the age of 19, so we're getting quite a bit. We're getting some good movement. Terry Butcher's left Rangers, who are legends, moved over to Tottenham and coming to the Premier League. Christian Ogier is a nice little signing I like to sign myself on the normal game. Always develops quite nicely, getting quite cheap at the start. So I'm going to try and get through this quite quick because we've got to go onto the list, and that's where we'll really see where some of the guys I've found. So, we might miss a few off the list and stuff. As I've just noticed there before I skipped, Alan Smith reset. He's moved from Leeds to West Ham, and at the age of 18, he's looking really good. Really good. We'll probably have a few players for the current season as well. He's probably signed. And we'll skip down. Free transfers. No one really is going to be that interested, I don't think, in there. So we'll skip past those. Get on down to the actual what's going on at the club level here. So we've got Kevin Stuckman. He's moved into English football at the age of 18 to Arsenal, so he should develop nice there. Balzaretti moving to Swansea on a loan. You see he's reset. He's at the end of his career normally. Pogba getting some loan time out. He's looking really good at 18. These guys are going to develop to the stats that they have got currently on the game, on the normal game. So that's what's going to make it interesting on the international level and stuff. They're going to have bigger pools, the bigger teams. Some of the smaller teams obviously are snapping up like Stoke. We've seen they've got Zoltan, Swansea, they've got Berbatov, so they can really crack on and do really well. As we can see here, Ashley Cole's left Arsenal on a free transfer, and he's by the look of things, he's gone to Celtic and gone to Arsenal by the look of his little screen here. So that getting interesting. Ashley Cole obviously went straight from Arsenal to Chelsea, but so you weren't getting on there at Arsenal, went to Celtic. We've seen obviously Cassano going out on loan already. He's looking quite good physically. Yeah, he's still 18, but his mental and technical attributes, he's gonna do well. Walcott obviously going out on loan to Hull. He's looking quite good, obviously. So we've got movement. Matt Tree coming on loan to Leicester. He's reset him at the age of 18. I think Lennon hasn't reset, unfortunately, for him. Philip Mexes moving to Man City. Man City look like they've been quite active here on a couple of legends here, and obviously Mexes, legend in the current game. Coming to the end of his career, but 20 years old, looks really good. He's sturdy up there, back line. Company, he hasn't reset, unfortunately. He's probably coming to the end of his career in the next couple of seasons, so good replacement for him. Enrique gets some lane time from Arsenal. And with Glenn Johnson going out on loan, he's zipping down here. Forrest have managed to snap at Rakitic, who's obviously reset, and he's snapping him up from his former club and Basel. I don't think he started at Basel. He might have potted around. Obviously, we're not looking at the wild transfers. We can't go into Pepe's moved to Liverpool. Now he's out on loan. So obviously, as we go through, we'll click on a couple of players that really catch our eye on the shortlist and stuff, where the clubs they've gone to. We'll look at the history a little, see where they've moved. Obviously, Chamberlain's still at Southampton. He's been loaned out to Wednesday. Quite a few players have gone Wednesday by the look of things. Obviously, reputation's sort of been boosted up with this. Benteke even quite cheap. A couple of seasons on since his move. He's gone a couple of places, become a bit of a nomad. And then, as we see here, Southampton have picked up Higuain at 18, looking quite good. Another player from the shortlist coming into the Premier League at a young age. See how he gets on. Good youth system at Southampton. Really, he could develop really quite nicely. Again, we see Bellerin. He's actually moved to Swansea on a permanent deal. So he's now in the Premier League. It's going to be interesting because some of these players never come to the Premier League in real life. And we'll see what happens. They're coming to the Premier League in this alternate world and see if they can actually crack on and become big Premier League stars in the future. So the first couple of seasons, it's good. There's going to be a lot of movement. These guys are still in young ages. Darren Fletcher moving away on a permanent deal to Tottenham. Quite a nice fee there, 15.5 for a young player. He's 19, he would have been 18 probably at the time. We're at July 1st of so we're just at the start of the fourth season really, so a few transfers would have gone through, pre-deals and stuff. And we'll have a quick little look to see if there's been any activity this season and see if the contracts are out for some people. So we'll skip down just see if there's any actual transfer activity because you get your budget in June. So there's going to be a bit, obviously free transfers and pre-contracts. So we notice here, I haven't really stats for anyone interesting. Ashley Cole's moved to Chelsea. He spent quite a lot of his career, did really well there. Obviously moving on to Roma. Vidic has actually moved to Chelsea. I think he starts in Serbia and he's obviously moved to Greece and now he's come on to Chelsea. So that's quite an interesting turn of events. He's obviously spent quite a long time at United, quite an icon over at United. He's been Mr. Sturdy for them. Him and John Terry at the back could form a formidable partnership in the future. Obviously, an Italian here, he's come into the club. Andreas Lingard, who obviously reset, he's moved into Crystal Palace. He's in the Premier League, he's 19, not looking bad. Obviously, he could have a different career than he's had than being second fiddle to De Gea at United and not really getting any play time to develop. We've got Shaqiri here moving to Leeds. So he's reset, very young, going into a very good young Leeds squad. So very plenty of time to develop. And we get with Man City here, obviously, Simon Vidal, very good player. We all know in Football Manager and in the real world football, and they've got him at quite a young age. Obviously, I think Napoli might have bought him off colour, and then they snapped him up quite quick, 24 million. So gone for a lot more than Fletcher has. So we're seeing a lot more activity in these young players. Obviously, I said I might miss one or two coming down the list. Obviously, we've got Mackie, legend at Tottenham, who's moved. So Man City are showing their now financial pulling power and snapping up some legends as well as some of the reset players. Popping down the list, Cleverly's out on loan at Rangers. Jordan Henderson, obviously, he's gone back to Sunderland now. That's 15 for it at the start of the game. He's just looking quite nice at Southampton. Obviously, we've said good youth development. Palacio, brilliant. Him and Higuain. And I think Oliver Giroud, yeah, he is a reset player as well. Obviously, looking really nice at 18 at West Ham. Could go on to have a good career there in the next couple of seasons. So obviously that's a gist of who's moving. We've seen quite a bit of activity over the last couple of seasons. A couple of guys here, a couple of guys there, some loan deals. You know, obviously the biggest signing so far really has been for Man City with Vidal. Obviously we know what he can do. Everyone's seen come to the Premier League in real life. There's been a lot of interest from the Manchester clubs. Obviously, Juventus aren't going to let him go in real life, and he's got an alternative career now, coming to the Premier League at a young age. And obviously, we'll pop onto the shortlist now, and we'll have a good look at see if people have actually been playing for the clubs and in league football, and see who's gone where. So we've got quite a lot of players on this list. And as we can see, we start at the top. We'll go down to the stats, and we'll have a look at the overall stats. So Alonso making 44 appearances already. Everyone knows Alonso's a quality player, good passing, good defensive midfielder. Played 44 games so far, average rating of 4.7. And Dirk Kuyt, he's obviously at Feyenoord. He's 20 now. He's looking really good. He's actually got a bit of pace about him in this game. And he's got quite a good record there, 15 and 16 for 43 appearances. He's obviously wanted now, so he's possibly moving to a big club, Juventus, moving up the leagues. Obviously, people like that Ego Asper, didn't have a good career at Liverpool. He's gone back to Spain, and now he's reset. He's got potential to move to a good club and actually have a decent career. So this is what the alternative reality sort of experiment's about. See what happens to these players and where they go, because obviously some of them are getting wanted now. They're coming to the age 18, 19, Roma, Daniel Alves. So as we can see here, you know, the Barca boys, I don't see much movement from them. Maybe could be they've got a very good squad. Eto, I'm surprised he's not moved on really. You know, looking at his stats, he's 19. He's got 13 goals so far. You know, these guys are young still. Don't forget. Christian Eriksen out ready for loan. He's moved from his original club. We'll have a quick little blip down here because obviously all the players haven't been played of the games, so you can have a get gist of some of the players who are playing and stuff. So these Spanish guys are getting in games. I'm imagining the Metalast and the Castile, the lower Spanish divisions. So Letic, he's playing for small teams. So he's getting some game time here. He's getting some good performances by the look of things. Obviously in the Brazilian leagues, we've got players here who Falco, who's come to Brazil by the look of things. He's obviously looking really good at 19. Mascherano, he's turned. He's already got a pre-contract signed by Porto, so we expect to see him in the next season in Champions League football and European football. I've added Sabo Milosevic to my shortlist because he's an ex-Villa boy. I remember him when I was young, and see where he goes. It's more for my own enjoyment that one. These guys are getting some game time here. Some of these guys, obviously, some of them have already agreed contracts with other teams in Europe and stuff. The South Americans are getting to that age now where they're over the age of 18 and they can get into the European teams without having to wait a few seasons. So good idea. Some of these guys are getting some good game time and they're playing games, maybe in the lower leagues for the Spanish teams and stuff. But we can see, but we'll skip back to the quick top. We'll have a scroll down on general information so we can see what clubs people are at. I've got a kind of recollection of where some of these players were originally. Some of the bigger ones I know I'll recognise straight away. So Giovanni's actually moved to Real Madrid. He's in the Castile league. We're not going to go into massive detail and go into the players and how they're performing because we've got a lot of players to get through. Obviously, we want to see where people are. Falco's moved from his original club. I think he's at River at the start. He's moved into Brazil. Brazil, I noticed on the reputations have moved up quite a bit. We know Mascherano is leaving. James Rodriguez is leaving as well because obviously he's at his original club in Colombia. We'll quick pop on him because he's quite interesting. He's moving to France. We all know what he can do on Football Manager. He's an absolute brilliant player. Sergio Ramos is still at Seville. John was wanted. I think the next couple of seasons, these guys are really going to start moving around because some of them aren't going to be getting into the first teams as much. They'll probably kick up a first and fourth transfers. Jackson Martinez, he's moved to Twente. He's a fake one. He's a good striker. I've known him from West Ham career many years ago. He was quite young on it before his days at Porto. Van Persie is unsettled and he's wanted. 18-year-old Van Persie in your squad would be something special. This is what I mean. Ivanovic, he's still in Serbia. His value's going up. He'll get snapped up by a big European team, and we're going to follow these guys around. Aguero, I think he looks like he's moved club actually. I really rate Aguero as a player and Football Manager. Yeah, he moved to Brazil. Neymar's wanted now. Obviously he's reset. He was only in his early 20s anyway, but these guys are gonna have different paths, different ways to go. So for us see where it's getting on. Got Cavani who's moved to Ajax by the look of things. So we've got some movement going on. Messi obviously is reset and he's back to his youth and brilliance. Milto, he's actually gone to Holland. Holland obviously could probably snap up some of these young South Americans and stuff without their work permits. Get him into the European scene, what would be good. Arshaven's at Athletic. Obviously, he's not one of my favourite players, but he's the only Russian one who to reset I could find, really. So, Schneiderlin is wanted as well now. Seeing a bit of movement, Lewandowski, it's put him at Dortmund for some reason. I'm sure on the old games he used to buy from Leash, I think. Over in Poland, I remember signing for Celtic on, I think it was 2010, before he really become a superstar or anything. So we'll have a quick look at Preston Blackpool before we wrap things up. We'll be a bit brief with that, see how they've done, if they've managed to push up the leagues. Javier Hernandez has managed to come from Mexico. He's now in France. Next couple of episodes when these guys start breaking to international scenes, we'll have a look at the World Cup and stuff. Maybe look at some like doing the 21 ones World Cup in the next episode. Obviously, a lot of the English guys are still at the clubs. Rooney's 18 now. He's worth 10 million. He's becoming that player that everyone knows. Could he stay at Everton? Could he really go on to big things at Everton, drive them into top of the football in years and years to come? Southampton, obviously, have got quite a few good young players already at the club, and they're going to sign some players. We've already seen that Southampton have picked up a few good reset players. Obviously, Ronaldo's reset back at Porto. He'll be one to follow. He's obviously going to be at a big club in Europe, and we'll see where he goes. Obviously, can he go to United? They're in his favourite clubs, so you could possibly more be interested in a move to these clubs. Nani's already moved on to PSV. We've probably down, a couple of the Belgian lads. Now, Hazard is started at Lille anyway. Mignolet's moved. He starts at I can't remember what club he's originally started at. I can't remember the name of them. But he started in Belgium and obviously he's gone to AC Milan now. my Sundays at Reading. So they've snapped him up. When did they get him? Well, they got him he would have been only 15 or something. They give him plenty of playing time. He didn't do bad at the age of 15, 16 down in the Championship. He's not played from yet. First season up in the Premier League. Obviously, we know some of these guys we've seen on the Premiership transfers have moved into the Premier League and what clubs they've gone to. Hamsik, I think he starts somewhere else, and he's obviously Leon has snapped him up. Balotelli's moved from his first club. Pirlo's now in France rather than staying in Italy. Technical and mental attributes are absolutely brilliant. As we know Higuain's at Southampton. We've got Scarlett into Carlos Tevez is now at Sporting. So Sporting are obviously back to the best, and they're snapping up some good youngsters. Raheem Sterling's managed to, QPR managed to hold on to him so far. He's 17 still. Build up on that. Pablo Mir, I've noticed, he's at AC Milan. We'll probably see a few of these Italians clubs getting some of these good young South Americans. Antonio Valencia is now at QPR. That's one I hadn't noticed. He's 18. Good signing for them. Suarez is at Bordeaux now in France. So he's moving from Uruguayan leagues. I'm sure he's at Sporting in the real game, but he doesn't start there on the Legends pack. So obviously they've snapped him up and signed him, and he's gone to a club that he actually played for. Remember Dell's over in Austria. Goran, he's in France now. Looks like some French clubs are snapping up some of these youngsters quite nice. Obviously Song and Essien at their respective clubs still. I've tried to get this list as many of the players as I can find, obviously, so we can get a good look at where they're going. We're not going into massive detail. We're sort of just going to see where they go. We'll probably start getting into more detail when they start breaking into the international team in later episodes. Danny Blind, he's not at Ajax anymore with his dad. He's moved on to France, to St Etienne. The Munich boys are all still at Munich. Obviously, the youth system they've got there going to be developing nicely. Be interesting if it gets that first team, because obviously the Munich team is full of legends, absolute brilliant German footballers. We've already had a bit of movement here. Not really a big name star who's potentially quite good in the game currently, but he could become a star with them stats at the moment at 18, getting playing time at Benfica. Lucas Anderson, obviously, he's a bit more of a Ajax, still a young lad in the game anyway, but obviously he looks like he's developing quite well at 17. We've always seen Lingard's gone to Crystal Palace. Kavak actually, he's at Standard. I don't think he starts at Standard, but he's leaving anyway, and he's going to Turin. Obviously, back in the day, I think the big team we need to see back in the day, some decent teams after him really, and he's chose them. Some Premier League teams as well. Madrid is still over in Dynamo. He's he's looking alright. Could do with moving to a bigger club maybe. David Alba, we all know from Football Manager, absolute brilliant left back, one of the best left backs in the game probably, and the Hull have managed to snap him up. We'll have a quick little look at him then, and Hull have got him for 4.5 million in the second season by the look of it. He's not done brilliant for him, but he's quite young. He's played a lot of games for him in that third season, so see how he gets on at Hull. And Zeko, obviously, we've got a bid in for Zeko. Say Etihad, snapping up a couple of these reset players. Pajic, see again. Arsenal getting in on him. So a lot of movement on these players already. So they're getting snapped up by the European clubs. So exactly how we wanted it to go. Obviously in the future episodes, we'll see if these guys are into international teams. People like Zoltan, obviously Ramsey, Allen, they'll be getting into their international teams quite easily, I'd imagine. Whereas the other guys, the English, the Brazilians, the French, might struggle quite a bit, and especially in Italy and Spain. These teams have got the senior teams and the 21 teams just packed full of legends throughout the eras. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can get to the level that some of these legends are rated at, and if they can move on. Obviously, and that's the bottom of the list, and we see Brad Friedel there, we already know, he moves on to Arsenal. So we'll have a quick pop up to Scotland and see how Rangers have got on, see if they managed to win the title in the first couple of seasons up there. Oh, we're on the so as we can see, Rangers are back in the top of Scottish football. We'll go back. Obviously, they're not in it the first season. Celtic walked it, absolutely walked it with the players that they've got. Coming into the second season, Rangers straight up there, straight in, 88 points. Unfortunately, well behind Celtic, who only would have lost that one game to Hearts by the look of it. So they managed to beat Rangers both their games. We'll skip on to last season. Rangers getting tighter. It's getting tighter. The Celtic walking away with the goals though, really are, and obviously set for the next 3 seasons. We'll skip and we'll see how Rangers manage to pip them to the title. Maybe become that more dominant force. They've held it for a couple of seasons. We'll have a quick little look in the Champions League. I don't think we've done that this episode yet. And where are we? Competitions, cups. The Champions League, Barcelona obviously won it here. We'll have a look at the history, past records, past winners. Since we started, Ajax coming to win it in 15. Not surprised with Patrick Kluivert, David, sorry there, completely Edgar Davids. Got it mixed up there. We're skipping back here. Obviously, the Germans look like they're dominating in 16. Barca, Man United in 17. So I think it's going to make the Champions League a bit more interesting. Like as we can see, Ajax went on to win it. As we can see, that it's been a long time since they've even been in that bracket. Really, 1996. So with the legends that they've got, they've obviously managed to crack on, and that's probably when some of these guys were playing in that sort of period with the club. Obviously in their primes, and they've got the best youth system. We've already got some really good players, obviously the youngsters. We've already got the regens probably coming through, and being Ajax, they'll have some really good regens. Most of the team, I think, obviously these guys who are the current stars, I think they might struggle a little bit to get into the first team. Even Veltman is a good centre back on the game. Obviously Manuelson's now coming into older. So that's really what we want to look at the game. We've looked at the shortlist. There's a lot of movement going on. These players are being snapped up, and we'll have a quick little pop at Zoltan and see how he's doing in the league since coming to Stoke. And as we can see, 28 goals in 37 appearances. He was probably 17 at the point. They probably signed him when he was 15, 16 possibly, 17. And he's gone on to score 14 goals in his first season, and that second season for a player of his age. As we can imagine, though, it is Zoltan, and he's going to be doing really well for him. Let's have a quick little pop of Ramsey as he managed to get in. These guys are getting used, so it's going to be interesting. Another 3 seasons, and they're getting into their early 20s. See what's really going on with them. See what's going on in the league. See if any of these smaller teams, as we say, Stoke have snapped up a few guys now. See if these guys can really push on and get into the higher divisions. So obviously that concludes our little segment today, and we'll get back to you in 3 seasons' time and see what happens with these players.